Hi everyone, welcome to our Lead Squared panel discussion. My name is Kartika and I am from Lead Squared's marketing team and I will be your host for the day. Today we will be discussing automating debt collection for effortless loan recovery. So before we get to the webinar, let me just quickly introduce our wonderful panel of speakers to you. We have Mr. Michael Gatela here, who is the head of collections at Uno Bank. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us a bit about you so that we can get to know you a little better.
Thank you, Kartika. Good day, everyone. So I'm Michael Gatela, the current head of collections for Uno Digital Bank for the Philippines. I've been with the collections industry for 25 years with different banks, both local and international banks. So I started as a collector, in Bankcard, and then I moved to Citibank for 11 years. And then I also worked with City Financial, one of the subsidiaries of Citibank. And I also moved to the biggest bank in the Philippines, the BDO, and another one, the Security Bank, and also one of the country managers who handled international collection agency in McGrath and Arthur. So now I'm here at Uno Digital Bank. The bank that here right now is one of the 7 digital banks in the Philippines, and we are a startup bank. And we will be actually uh, introducing some models in terms of product features in terms of consumer loans.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Kartika.
Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. A lot of experience you have over there, and I'm really looking forward to learning from you. Okay, so our next panelist is Mr. Atul Kulkarni, who is the head of business development at Pepper Advantage. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Atul. Please tell us a bit about you.
Thanks, Kartika. I'm as present working with Pepper Advantage, which is a credit intelligence company. Our company works in 12 countries, and here I'm working as a business head. Prior to that, I'm having a total 35-year experience. I work with various banks and NBFCs in India, all leading banks. And fortunately, I was also responsible for merging 5 banks in India, and I was one of the key members. And as far as the collection is concerned, throughout I was in collection, whether I was in marketing, all that, but collection was a part of my job. So I worked with HDFC Bank, I worked with Centurion Bank, I worked with ING Group, Amsterdam, and then I was abroad for 5 years in Muscat, where I was working with a group called Southbourne Group, which was one of the biggest group in Middle East. There also I was handling their collection activities. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Atul. Really looking forward to learning from you as well. And joining us from Lead Squared is our Associate Director of Pre-Sales, Mr. Rajat Gurnani. Thank you so much for joining us, Rajat. Please tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Kartika, for the wonderful, introduction, and a warm welcome to all the audience. Good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you are joining today, right? And so my name is Rajat Gurnani. I head the solutioning and consulting, for Lead Squared. I'm the associate director currently at Lead Squared, and I have actually worked with early stage startups, listed companies, unicorn startups, and now I'm working with Lead Squared. I'm a chartered accountant by education, so that's an irony actually. So BFSI sector, specifically the lending sector, it's in my blood, and I understand this sector very well. The complexities, the challenges coming in, and how does technology can actually play a role in this sector. So I'm looking forward to this wonderful discussion today. Yeah, over to you, Kartika.
Thank you so much to all our speakers. Well, there you have it. We have a lot to unpack for sure. But before we get to all that, I have a few pointers for the audience as well. So if you look towards the right side corner of your screen, you'll be able to see a few tabs. There is a poll tab where we'll publish a couple of polls during our session. Please do respond to them. We'd love to learn from you and hear from you. And of course, the question tab is going to be your go-to. So during the whole roundtable discussion, if you have any doubts or any questions that you want our panelists to answer, you can put it up over there and they will take it up towards the end of the session. And of course, the chat tab is for us to interact with each other. Of course, networking is a key part of this roundtable. All right, so with that, I will quickly pop off to the back end and leave the roundtable discussion be. So, Rajat, thank you so much. Please take it forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kartika. So now, we'll start the session, and I request my audience, please, keep engaging, keep interacting. Whatever questions you have, please post in the chat box. we'd be very happy to answer all of them. I'm already seeing the emojis coming up. I'm very glad to see that. Right. So please keep on posting your questions. We'd love to answer all of those. Right. So now to start the session, the key discussion points, what we'll keep is, we have those pointers in place. So the challenges posed by, current market conditions, and the traditional debt collection processes, how does it work, what are the problems being faced. The second pointer will be, the advantages of building a customer centric and collection process, right, empathetic collection process. That will be a second key discussion point. Third, how do we capture and how do we utilize the technology which is we are in the digital era, right? Chat GPT has come in, all of the AI tools, ML tools have come in. So how do we utilize that technology to optimize our recovery efforts? That will be a third discussion point. And last but not the least, how can the lending firms, the lending companies can integrate these kind of new age debt collection tools within their existing ecosystem? Because the biggest challenge is already all of the companies have their in-house system or their existing system. So how can we actually leverage these new age technology systems, maybe integrate together and move towards the effectiveness and efficiency in increasing the collection percentage? So yeah, so these will be the four key discussion points for today. So to start the discussion, the first pointer which I would like to mention is, I rather the first part was the challenges, right? What are the challenges posed by the current market condition and traditional, debt collection processes? And to start with, I would love to start this discussion with Michael. So, Michael, what is happening right now is the financial services world today is so much happening, right? There are so much things happening. There are so many things going on, and everything is deeply connected on a global scale, right? We also saw this SVB Bank happening in US recently. So, how do you think, how is the current market shaping up? What are some drivers, and consumer behavior is very important. So, what are the trends which you see around, that consumer behavior? Would love to hear from you, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rajat. So to start with, I will mention several of the market conditions that we are facing right now globally. So number one, we all know that we are actually coming and we're still in the pandemic for where the peak of the pandemic was on the last 3 years. And the effect of that is that the world inflation reached at 8.8% last year. Okay, then the IMF expects this will fall to 6.5% this year. Hopefully, it will. And then during the pre-pandemic, it is at 2.19%. So imagine the disparity of the inflation rate that we're experiencing right now. So another thing for the unemployment, which is we are also facing right now. So there's a limited increase in unemployment, mainly due to increase of manufacturing sector. So with that, unemployment in the global market remain high and range between from 4% to 8%. We have assumed that the scenario above will have a similar impact on the employment because of slowdown in the manufacturing segment and will be at the same levels as was observed during the 2008 and 2009 financial crisis. Okay, and then another thing, the third one, is we are also experiencing a continued war between Russia and Ukraine, which is impacting the global supply of oil and thereby increase in crude prices through the period. Now, with most of the country's economy being dependent on imported oil, this will result in increasing inflation and thereby increase in interest rates in monetary policy. Now, another thing is these are all interrelated. So, in this concept, actually, there will be impact in terms of the way we do things. For example, the traditional debt collections practices. Yeah, Rajat.
So anything you want to add, Mr. Atul, if you want to add something to it?
Like Michael said, that after pandemic, we are having a lot of challenges we are facing towards the collection. Especially since 2 years, it was very bad. Banks are closed, and customer, means lot of people don't have the jobs, and they have to pay their installments and all that. Government had started giving a lot of rebate, but it was not sufficient to take care. So yes, the position is bad. And secondly, what happened, like Mr. Michael said, the unemployment is decreasing. At the same time, we are not getting proper people for the collection. So suddenly, lot of collection agencies and lot of collection this systems require a lot of people. But fortunately now we are having this digital collection, which is which is growing very fast. That is the reason where we don't require more people. Automated calls and all that is happening. So thanks to the new technology, which is which lot of people are adopting. Like even we started adopting. Basically, I am from traditional collection where we used to go and meet the customer and do the collection. So now I think digital technology will definitely take over very fast. And
Absolutely.
thanks Michael for
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
said was correct, like inflation
yeah.
rate, and really thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Atul, for adding on what Michael said. The next question is very important because see, I have also worked with the lending companies earlier, and what we have seen is the major focus is always on the sales part because obviously we have to achieve the numbers, and because of that, I see that the debt collection process is sometimes neglected or maybe the second priority, whereas in as per my opinion. It should be also prioritized because if we are able to give the loans we should also be able to collect that money, otherwise that loop will not continue, right? So that loop has to continue. So in
Correct.
your opinion, Mr. Atul, what are some of the struggles which you have seen in the traditional ecosystem, because you have been to that background, right? You have seen those
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
traditional collection
Yes,
processes.
yes,
So what
yes,
are the
yes.
struggles which you see, Mr. Atul?
See, like you rightly said, basically there are effective collection strategies are very, very important. Like
Mhm.
before giving credit, we should have robust credit check. We should,
Correct.
if you don't have robust credit check, like you have to check the civil, you have to do proper FI. We used to go field investigation. We used to do lot of emphasis. Someone will
Yeah.
visit his house where they will see whatever things are available, where the house owned by him, and they'll check with the neighbors like that. Then fraud check. Then if you rate the customer properly in credit, so that is one of the important thing. What I was going through when we used to do a lot of credit. Then the main most important part is you should keep in touch with customer. What is
Correct.
happening? A lot of companies are not will not keep in touch with the customer. Once they give the loan, then they will forget. But now there are the ways where you can wish him on the birthday, or suppose he has taken a credit loan, or he's a businessman. Suppose you are gone to that side, just visit his shop, say hello, hi, how are you? I came this side, so I thought I'll say you hello and all that. Wish him anniversary. So those type of things, if you take, then it is a one of the important part in the collection strategy. Then send reminders well in advance. Suppose there is due date on fifth, so you send him reminder in advance, because many times what is happening, we can see the customer is not
I think there is some network issue with Mr. Atul. No problem, no problem. We'll continue. I'll add to what Mr. Atul was saying, right? He was mentioning it correctly that reminders are very important, right? Because see, I was a customer. I took a car loan in back in India some time back. I still remember, I had the money to repay the EMI, but because I was in a meeting that day, I was traveling and I didn't get any reminder. I won't be able to disclose the name of the bank, but I was not getting any reminder so that I can pay. And because of that, I missed the EMI. And believe me, the challenges after missing that EMI was large, right? So I had to physically visit the bank and then pay the EMI manually. So as Mr. Atul mentioned, reminders is important in terms of the customer related challenge and the payment methods, right? So if you see my example, if I would have been giving a payment link or something, I could have paid online, right? But they said, since you have missed the auto debit that was missed and that didn't happen due to some error or you forgot to pay, so now you have to come to the bank branch specifically and you have to manually pay either in cash or check, right? So that's a very, that's not convenient at all for the customer, and reason why I think the customers are also reluctant to pay the EMI sometimes. So this is another challenge. And as I mentioned, so lack of payment method, then the reminders part, so lack of awareness about when to pay, and some liquidity crunch is also happening, because unemployment, which Michael mentioned. So unemployment is another major factor which has come to the debt collection, because people have already taken the loan maybe 4 years back or 5 years back, and now because of unemployment they are not having that liquidity to pay the amount, right? So that's another challenge. And with respect to, I think, process related challenges, so these were the customer related challenge. Process related challenges, I think end to end there's a specific need of a collection management tool, because still we are living in that era, where the people are going to the customer place, sir, please pay the amount, give us check or cash, whatever. They're just noting down in papers and then coming back to office, then recording in manually, maybe in Excel or Google Sheets. So there is an need for the end-to-end collection management tool. That is another process-related challenge which I have seen. Right. So next we'll go to Mr. Michael. So Michael, what do you think? What are the some reasons which the collection team can struggle with efficiency, and can you share some statistics with us? Maybe how cases are pushed to agencies manually, or some statistics around that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right, Jet. So traditionally, when, for example, a financial company or a bank endorse an account to a collection agency, they do it meaning manually. So they extract a report from a core
Oh.
system, and then they will do it in the Excel file, and then they will actually filter it so that they can actually group the accounts to this particular collection agency based on, for example, expertise and based on geography or like other factors that we will need to consider. So these are the manual steps that a traditional bank or a traditional financial institution is now doing in terms of the manual endorsement. That is why I agree with you, Rajat, that we need a thorough, a 360 collections management system that should be in place in any collection shop, so that this manual process can be actually eradicated, and at the same time we can implement this technology digital platforms collection system. Now,
Yeah.
another thing is right now, for the traditional way of doing collections, there's a lack of view around customers' other collections profiles. Meaning, for example, if you do have a collection system, but that collection system is limited, for example, on the profile of one customer, but this customer have multiple loans in that particular bank. So the collector should have this view so that he can know which is the account which is has the most delinquent bucket or account that he needs to prioritize in terms of the collections. So another thing is the absence of a real-time productivity dashboard. Nowadays, in the digital world, the collectors are able to see real-time their productivity output. Meaning, for example, how many PTPs promise to pay, how many calls, how many contacts, how many kept payments, and how many amount collected they have as of this hour of the day. So that is the real-time productivity dashboard. Now, in terms of the statistics that you are mentioning, how many calls, for example, that a collector should dial in a day, it differs and depends on a per bucket. Meaning, if you are handling a early account, it should be at least, for example, 200 or more than 200 accounts calls that you need to do in terms of the attempts. And in terms of collected calls, it also differs, but usually on average of 80 and above, like 80 to 150 connected calls per day. And this will translate, for example, to 10 to 20%. Okay. And then the decent number would be around up to 40% or even more for some banks. Okay. That would be the connect rate. And then on an average, about, for example, the number of calls that required before a customer pays. Actually, this is not applicable because it depends, for example, if the customer is contactable or not. But in terms of the intensity, what I will answer is that the intensity should be there depending on the bucketing. For example, if the account is in the late stage of collections, so definitely intensity should also go up. Meaning, for example, you will do daily call outs, you will do daily digital reminders, or you will also do some kind of field collections and skip tracing. Okay, so now in terms of the touch points, both manual and automated, that we need to engage the borrower and get a PTP date. I think on an average, we need to do a 10 passes of the coverage in a month. When we say 10 passes, it should be, for example, we have, if we will only count the number of days in a month, for example, 20 calling days, it will be on every other day. So depending on the strategy of the bank and depending on what you will derive in terms of the solution and at the same time the results that you want to get. So it differs per country, and it differs also based on your risk appetite and at the same time the profile of your accounts. Okay.
Yeah, got it, got it. Thank you so much, Michael. So, Mr. Atul, actually, we were discussing, what are the struggle with efficiency which collections team are facing right now, and some
Correct.
of the statistics. Let's say, for example, how many calls a person need to make just to collect the money,
Yes,
or
yes.
how many touch points. So, if you can add something to it.
Like Michael said, that 200 calls is minimum we have today in a day, and effective calls should be 80 to 180. That standard we are following in our company also, and it is I think when I discussed the computer, they are also following the same strategy.
Yeah,
And like earlier, I was discussing that there are certain challenges, effective culture strategies we are discussing. But sorry, there were some issues, some internet issues.
no problem.
So I was out. So I'll continue that. That what is that? Then I was telling that you have to send the reminders well in time for the collection for the customer. Suppose check is due on 5th, so first you have to send him reminder. Then the most important part is send invoice promptly. You should get invoice where you have to mention clearly how much amount is due, and if you don't pay, how much is the penalty. And most important, the address. Many times, what is happening? Customer change the address. So there is a housing loan which is for 20 years, 25 years. So customer will definitely want to change the house. Two, three times he'll change the house. But what is happening? Someone will change the invoice, and the invoice will come back, but no one is bothered. If you lie like this and invoice will go everyone, then customer will not pay. Someday
Yeah,
someone will realize he has changed the address, they'll contact him, then customer say, I am not aware how much I have to pay and all that. So you have to follow the invoice very promptly. And most important, again, I'll come to digital thing now, how it has changed from traditional. Now there are a lot of several payment options are available. Earlier, what customer used to do, suppose he has to pay the money, he has to go to some particular bank, particular branch, he has to stand in the queue and pay. But now with several payment options, I think collection has become very easy, especially digital payment like GPay and all that. Customer will pay from home. Once someone approach him, they'll say, okay, at least pay something. So they will pay him. So I think these are the major strategies, and like prevent rather than regret, that we have to
yeah.
adopt.
Yeah, totally agreed with you, Mr. Atul. I still remember, since now I'm in the Philippines, as you mentioned about the address, right? So there's a
Yes.
credit card for which still the hard copy statement is being sent to my old address, even though I've requested for address change. So that's a
Yeah.
live
Yes.
scenario
Yes.
which I am
Yes.
facing right now, right?
Yes.
So
No, it's
we have
very common.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And since I have been to both sides of the table, in the debtor side also, in the creditor side also, so I know, these are some of the real time scenarios which we are
Yes.
seeing these days.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the banks are gradually growing up, right? They are
Yes.
understanding these kind of pain points, and now with the help of these collection tools, I hope they should be able to cope up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So now we will, move to the next topic of discussion, which is advantages of building a customer-centric, an empathetic collection process. Till now, we have discussed the challenges, why the people are not able to pay, what are the basic challenges we are seeing, and now we'll see the advantages of building a customer-centric collections process. So, Michael, my question to you is, let's say, why should we put, the customer at the center of collection operations? Because we have to improve our collections process. I understand, but why you think that we should be putting the customer at the center? And also, what are the benefits? What are the advantages which you think are there to build an empathetic collection process? Should we consider that as a priority or not? Please, would love to hear
Yeah.
from you, Michael.
Yes, Rajat. So
Yeah,
it's a simple answer because our customer is the center of what we do. Because of the what we lend, customers are the pinpoint in terms of being the center of the lending industry. Now, the advantages of building customer-centric and empathetic collections process. The benefits, number one, is because of customer satisfaction. And in this, we will improve loyalty rate. Now, the aim is not just to collect once, but to ensure a long-term positive relationship. And this increase the customer's lifetime value. For example, if the customer is experiencing financial difficulty right now and the account is in past due, then you were able to collect and help this customer, for example, for some kind of risk mitigation programs. And then this customer was able to pay in full and close the account. So this customer will now have a loyalty to the bank that there was a help, there was a financial assistance, there was a financial literacy that actually he get from this bank or financial institution. So in reality, this customer will attract another customers or new customers via referrals. So this is a domino effect. And then another thing, this will also build a better business reputation for the bank or a financial institution. And then, of course, all of this, we are doing this for the lending business. Is the ultimate goal is to increase the revenue and recover whatever the write-offs or the past due that we have for these customers. So this is very important because nowadays, I think this is being left by most of the collection heads and the trainers because they want just to be aggressive, just to be and make some demanding messages to the clients in order them to pay. But we need also to do this because we need an empathetic collections process. And for me, in my shop, in the collection shop right now, I am ensuring this that the collections trainer this is part of the training module of Unibank for those, for example, newly hired collections officers.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Michael. It's a great point which you mentioned. I still remember the point. When I was doing B2C sales earlier with my father, I think some 15, 20 years back, 20 years back, right? So he taught me that customer is the king. So I still
Yes.
remember that statement, and which applies to all the businesses, right? So as you mentioned correctly, right, we have to be customer centric, and I believe there's a very major reason for that. See, when you see the business in terms of the revenue, upsell and cross sell and the repeat business is something which is
Yeah.
very important to generate a larger business, right? And I think if you want to generate the repeat business or you want to upsell or cross sell, loyalty and trust is something which is very important. The best example I can again relate to you is the if let's say that bank where I had taken the car loan, right? If they would have given me the convenience of sitting at home and making the payment via maybe Gcash or GPay, right? So I would be a loyal customer of them, and I would have taken another loan maybe for another car next time. But if you ask me today, I'll not at all take the loan from that bank and not even refer, right? And word of mouth is something which you are looking for, because you can build a business with the people, with the processes, but if you want to build a brand, the trust, right, then you have to have that loyalty and convenience in place. And I think that's what which businesses and banks should look for. Would love to hear from you, Mr. Atul, about this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Customer centric approach is very, very important. Customer centric approach is very, very important.
Mr. Atul, you are mute.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. Customer centric approach is very, very important. Your customer should be always happy with you because if they are loyal to you, they'll bring more customer, like Michael said. And customer is the king today. And basically, like we said, that customer is the brand ambassador for your bank or your company. Because if he is happy, he will bring four more customers. That is
Yeah.
true. And secondly, in the collection, what I have seen, see, I have seen the traditional collection of doing collection for the commercial vehicle, construction equipment. So what happened when we give funding sometime? So he will have some contract. So he want 20 buses to, he got a contract for 2 years from some company where he has to transport his their staff. But what happened? Some fine day we realized that he stopped paying the installment. When we approach him, he'll say, no, no, I lost the contract and this company is closed, so I can't able to pay. So if you want, you can take this 20 vehicles back, but I can't able to pay you. In that case, if I take this 20 vehicles, so I may not able to recover my money because collateral might not be that strong. So in those cases, we have to tell, okay, we have to sit with the customer. So okay, we'll give you more time, or you require some more money. So if those type of approach is there with the customer, definitely customer will survive and he will be always loyal to you. So which we have seen in the India, there are old companies like Sundaram Finance, Tata Finance. They are following the same strategy. If customer is default, they will sit with him. They'll understand why he is default. There are two type of defaulter. One is intentional defaulter, one is circumstances defaulter. The circumstances defaulter, you have to sit with the customer, replan everything. You have to give him 2 3 months, and since he's a businessman, somehow again he will get some new contract. He will start paying you installment. But there are certain companies they'll not wait. They'll see the vehicle, they'll sell it, they'll spoil their relation also with the customer, and this customer will also not recommend his friend because they will always have their group of transporter where they will say, no, no, this company is not good, don't go to him, they'll not accommodate. So, like we discussed, customer centric is very, very important. We should be practical also at the same time. We have to discuss the issues and take the exam, take the decision so that it will be win-win situation for both.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Atul. I can see the polls coming in the chat box, is there. So you can ask all the questions which you have in mind. We would love to answer at the end of the session because we want to make it engaging. You should be able to grasp what we are saying, and then you can also maybe brainstorm and ask questions. We'd love to. So there's a poll going on as a creditor. What is the top priority when it comes to the collection? So it would be great if you can answer that poll. Yeah, yeah. So now moving, moving next to the topic. The role of technology, right? Now we have seen the traditional collection processes. Initially, we discussed the challenges, right? Then we discussed why we should be customer centric, we should treat customer as the king, because after all, they have to make the payments, right? So we have to modulate our processes according to them, because we are staying in a digital era. The processes are changing every week, every month, right? Agility is very important. We have to implement that. So role of technology, I think, in optimizing recovery efforts is very important. So the mission of building a customer centric process, Mr. Atul, which we spoke about. So how do you believe that technology can help in that, and how we can optimize the recovery efforts, avoiding the loan delinquencies? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Now with the digital technology, so many things have come. Recently, I attended one conference, so I was surprised that so many things are already available in the market, where the system can judge who are your regular defaulter, or there are chances that this customer may default. So those customers, system will give alert. You should be a little careful with this customer, and they may default. So you should be extra careful with those customers. Secondly, now I said that after this COVID, first we are not getting proper collection staff. So this automated dialing and automated sending reminder, SMS, WhatsApp, those are really helping now, because you keep on sending messages to customers that you are defaulting or your due date is so and so to keep sufficient funds. So those things are helping. And now with automated calling, earlier we used to call only say 100 customer, 150 customer. Now you can call at least 1,000 customers within minutes. So
Yeah.
that is the new technology is really helping, and it is helping us in collection a lot. And secondly, now you are getting that digital payment. Now customer don't have to go to bank or go to finance company. So these digital payments are also very very important. Where customer can from anywhere he can just make the payment. So I think that this digital technology is definitely helping us, and it will add future is for this only. You don't require, because nowadays people are also so busy. They don't want that someone should come to their customer. People are staying in societies where security will not allow them to go inside also. It was not like earlier days that you can go to any house. Nowadays things are changing, societies are changing. So I think this is a great, if we take the digital help, company will do much much better than traditional
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah. Would love to hear your views on this, Michael.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Rajat. Okay, so for the role of technology in optimizing recovery efforts, one is definitely it will improve productivity, as what Atul mentioned. So, for example, if, for example, we are using an auto dialer, a predictive one, versus a manual call out, so it will improve by 3 times or even more. Okay, so for a single agent or a single collector. So that will actually boost your productivity to threefold. Now, another one is, of course, it's a basic one. If you have the technology applied to your processes, it will create operational efficiencies. Okay, and then another one, the third one, will eliminate process redundancy, because in a manual scenario, this there will be process or things that a collections officer is doing, and then another one is duplicating it. Okay, and then we will also be eliminating errors, because in a manual scenario, this is prone to errors, and time will tell that you are not actually abiding or complying with your collections procedure manual. So this will eliminate these things. And then, of course, um, if we are actually applying this technology in our collection shop, it will be less manpower. We all know that putting more manpower or collections people in the collections department is actually means more expense for the company. So in a technology investment, so if you put, for example, a collection management system to your collection shop, so it will actually prevent increasing of manpower from time to time. because you have invested in this technology, which is only one time in terms of the setup, and you will just pay a licensing fee, which is very cheaper versus maintaining a manpower or collector. Now, for all of these things, it will increase revenue for the company. So this is a win-win solution for any company or any financial institutions.
Yeah, yeah, rightly mentioned, Michael. I remember, we were discussing recently with a few of my colleagues. So with just, the workflow automation itself, they were able to actually save a lot of cost because, the workflow automation does all of that without human intervention. So all of the reminders can go, automatically, maybe email, SMS, WhatsApp, right? See, because again, since we are talking about the customer centering approach, so we have to notice, which customers are liking the WhatsApp, who are active on email, who are active on Viber.
Right.
Because if, let's say,
Correct.
I prefer to communicate on WhatsApp or email, so I won't
Correct.
like if somebody disturb me via call, right? So it's the priority of the customer. So I think technology helps in that, number one. Number two, as you mentioned, the efficiency and effectiveness. And if, let's say, the agents are, when the agents start their day, sometimes I've seen the agents, they are in the kiosk, right? Let's say, what are the clients whom should we follow today, right? Whom should
Correct.
we call, whom should we visit? They are in
Yes,
kiosk.
yes.
Yeah, but if you have the technology, for example, day plan, right? If you start your day, this is the day plan for an agent, and he just need to visit, let's say, these many clients or call these many clients. So he's also very sorted and focused, right? So focus is also very important, which will help you to increase the efficiency. But sometimes the companies think that, why is increasing the effectiveness and efficiency required? Already they are following up, already everything is happening. But ultimately, as Michael, you mentioned, right? Ultimately, everything will land up to the revenue. It will actually increase your revenue, because
Yes.
if you connect the dots, it will actually last to the revenue part, right? So that will increase the revenue part. And also another, I think, the technology role which I want to mention is, since you have the system in place, right? The processes will be in place. So you have a square boundary that, okay, these are the processes, this is how we need to follow up, and these are the clients which we need to talk to or which we need to visit. So that will actually increase the collection rate of the company. So these are the three major parts. The fourth part is, again, as I mentioned, the ease of convenience, right? So since we have the technology today, so the customers can make payment from the payment gateway or Gcash or GPay, different
Yeah.
debit card, net banking. So sitting at their home, they can make the payment. So that's the convenience which we are looking at, right? So this is how I think technology can help a lot. So yeah. So apart from that, what are the benefits of end-to-end collection management tool? So as I mentioned, we can actually capture the borrowers from your maybe internal system. Let's say if you are using any in-house system for selling the loans, right? So there's some disturbance, Mr. Atul. If you can just mute for a bit. Yeah, thank you so much. So, some of the benefits which I want to mention of the end-to-end collection management tool, how you can actually leverage those benefits. So, number one is we can actually, capture, let's say, the borrower detail from your in-house system, or maybe importing an Excel or CSV format, or maybe API integration. Now, once the borrowers are in the system, I have all the borrow details, the unpaid amount, unpaid principal, unpaid interest, right? And now the agents can actually see all of that. Then we can automatically assign all the borrowers to the agents depending on different attributes. It may be city wise, region wise, or maybe type of loan wise, depending on the loan amount, right? Then we can assign the inquiry or the borrower's details to the agents. Now another major challenge which I have seen in because it comes in the traditional process, we are not able to prioritize the borrowers, right? We just run behind the borrowers who are not ready to pay. Rather, we miss out the borrowers who are actually ready to pay, who have the intent to pay, right? So the qualification is also a very important part, I think, which these kind of tools, similar to Lead Squared, which help them. So we help you, to qualify the borrowers with the help of different scores. Let's say the engagement score, the borrower score, or the quality score. The best example is, for example, since we have captured the annual income of the borrower, right? So we can actually figure out that on the basis of the annual income, maybe he might have the higher chances of payment because the liquidity would be there, right? So you will have the higher chances of payment, or maybe age of the borrower, or from the region he belongs to, right? From the category of income, household income he belongs to. So on the basis of these scores, which are calculated automatically, I think that can also benefit. So this is another benefit of a end-to-end collections management tool. And once these are qualified, I think then the agents can prioritize according to that and start making calls Now, calling is another major important point, as you mentioned, Michael and Mr. Atul. So we have, integrated with the telephony systems. We have plug and play connectors, so we can actually integrate with the telephony systems, and with the help of that, we can record the call logs or the activity logs. And then another major challenge which I've seen in the lending companies is the attrition, right? The employee attrition is very high sometimes, and then you need to do the knowledge transfer, all of that. But if you have these kind of tools, there is no need for that, because there's an activity history, right? You will be able to see the end-to-end communication or the engagement which has happened with that customer or the prospect. So the new person, when he joins in, he'll be able to see all of that communication, whatever has happened, maybe one-time settlement offer he was asking for, or restructuring of the loan. So all of that history he'll be able to see. So this is another benefit which I see. And then the call disposition can be recorded, right? All of the follow-ups can be automated. And the final part is the reporting. See, whatever you do the execution, it's of no use until unless you measure the performance of the business, right? So reporting is very important part. And I have seen companies, being from a finance background, I've seen companies preparing 10 versions of the same report, right? Extracting the data from different tools, then compiling. 5 people are just sitting for the reporting, right? So with the help of these kind of tools, I think reporting is also is a key which helps you. So we have, we can provide out of the box reports, the dashboard, you can just sync in, drag and drop, all of that, since these are all the low code, no code platforms, right? So this is how actually technology can help in. So the next part is the last part rather, how can lending firms integrate new age debt collection tools within their existing ecosystem? Because I have seen the leadership, the CXO people, they want to implement the system, but again there is a reluctancy because there are already existing systems which are in place, right? So Michael, I would love to hear from you. This is a very interesting segment, because now I think in the audience itself, people would love to explore these kind of tools, but they're still hesitant. They're not comfortable that how can we, integrate, how can we leverage these tools with our existing tools, and what are these critical tools, if you can, how they can help. Michael would love to hear from you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Rajat. Uh, First, I would like to highlight what you mentioned, Rajat, about earlier about priority calling
Yeah.
and the reporting. Yeah, you mentioned two important aspect of doing collections. One, priority calling, which is also part of the tools, collections tools that I will be presenting, is the scoring model. Okay, we
Yeah.
have the two scoring model for collections that we need to understand. First is the behavioral score. The behavioral score is intended for a pre-due bucket, which predicts the probability of the account to go to a default stage. Then number two is the collection score. The collection score is being used for the within the if the account is already in the default stage, meaning in the past use bucket. So the collection score is now predicting if the account will do a repayment after being after defaulting. Okay, to the for example, how many months in terms of EMI. Okay, now for these two models, actually, this is what Rajat mentioned earlier, that in terms of priority calling, for example, we will be segmenting the account into a different scores, and from this different score modeling, we will be actually segmenting from low risk, medium risk, and high risk. For example, for pre-due bucket, which is not yet at the default stage. For example, 7 days or 5 days before due date, there will be for example, a reminder call, depending on the frequency for high risk accounts. So this will be a combination of call outs and digital reminders. Okay. Now, for example, for medium risk, you will do this, for example, nearing the due date, which is 3 days prior due date. And we will also do a some kind of combination of the call outs and the digital reminders. But in terms of the frequency, it is lesser versus the high risk accounts. Now, for the low risk models or the scoring, so for the low risk, you can actually eliminate the call outs. So you will no longer need the call outs because it's low risk. And at the same time, you will just, for example, do a one SMS reminder on the due date itself. So in this case, you're actually putting priority collections on different segments of the accounts, which is being segmented according to risk levels. So another benefit for that is that the company will save a lot of dollars in terms of, for example, if you are doing digital reminders, it has a cost implication. So there will be lesser collections efforts for the low risk and medium risk accounts. So that is priority callings through the collection scores or the behavioral scores. Another collections tool that I would be mentioning is the right now the SMS blast. The SMS blast, it was also discussed earlier by Atul. Not only that, but we have also the WhatsApp blast and the Viber blast. Because in some countries, WhatsApp platform is being used widely. In the Philippines, Viber is the widely known platform, okay, versus the WhatsApp. So it depends on the per country level. So another one is the email blast, wherein you are sending email reminders either from pre-due up to the past due buckets. So this is now being used by almost all of the banks and financial institutions. So gone were the days wherein we are sending hard copy physical letters to the borrowers. And another thing is that what LeadScure has right now is the field mobile app. Okay, now the field mobile app is a very important tool because the field mobile app is now integrated or connected to the collections management system in such a way that this is not to clarify, this is not an extension of the collections management system. It has a own engine rule, it has a own algorithm, as it has a own logic. For example, you can track real time the whereabouts of your field collectors. Okay, you can assign automatic endorsement based on rule engine. Like for example, you will assign to this agent based on the geography, based on the expertise, based on performance, on different ways. You can do that inside the field mobile app. Another thing, another advantage is that, for example, if the field agent is talking directly to the, for example, to the borrower, to the customer, real time, and the borrower actually made a payment online through his cell phone. Actually, the agent can know directly and real time if the payment has been posted because it will flow through the field mobile app. So that is where technology now is actually advancing in terms of these things. So more of this for the field mobile app. And another tool that is very critical and important for collections is the auto dialer. So you cannot do, for example, eliminate this kind of tool because it is the most and traditional way of doing things. What I mean traditional is because if you are making a call before, you are doing it on a physical phone. But right now, you are doing it on a soft phone through the auto dialer. And you can activate whatever you want. You can do a preview. You can do a progressive and a predictive one. So this has a very different variant. So depending on your strategy. Now, another thing is that what we have right now is the outbound and inbound IVR. So nowadays, sometimes customers tend not to receive or answer the collections calls because they are too busy. They don't want to talk to any collectors. So for this tool, they have the option to actually choose and whatever, for example, options that the bank would like to give them. Like, for example, if you press 1, you can get a PTP. And if you press 2, for example, you can have a direct call or a call back from a live collector. So something like that, so that it will give more freedom to the customer. And nowadays, in the digital world, customer would like being given a certain options. So it is not for the bank to demand, oh, okay, these are the things that you need to do and you need to actually pay on a given deadline. Sometimes you have to give them some kind of freedom. Okay. And now another tool that's very important is the voice blaster. Well, the voice blaster is a pre-recorded message reminder to the borrower or customers. So, but nowadays it is now being actually replaced by a voice bot. A voice bot is an interactive communication tool wherein there's a algorithm or logic wherein if the customer talks to a certain voice bot, the voice bot will respond according to the questions. Okay? And the voice bot can actually take a promise to pay or a PTP. So that is where the advanced technology nowadays. And then another one, the last but not the least, we have if we have the voice bot, we have also the chat bot, wherein there's interactive chatting through a online platform, which is also being used by our by the most of the banks right now. So
Yeah.
these are the new age debt collections tools that we are seeing right now, and for me, it's a must for every organizations, especially banks or financial institutions, to have these collections tools because it will save them time, money, and a lot of manpower.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Now, since before I go to Mr. Atul, since we have 10 minutes left, there's something in chat which I lead. So, Ms. Sohong, are the technologies also applicable to corporate accounts and not just for individual customers? Absolutely. Lead Squared caters, to both the individual customers and for the SME and business customers. So we can showcase a demo with respect to that. Mr. Sachpal, no problem. We'll just email all the details to you since you need to leave early. No problem about that. There are polls also going on, so I would request everybody to please submit their response. So we'd be very happy for that. Now coming to Mr. Atul, the last question before we wrap up the session, right? So apart from this, since we have already spoken about technology, customer centric, the challenges, what do you
Correct.
think, Mr. Atul, are some of the great to have ways in which collection officers can promote excellent behavior, right? Because it is a very important need to promote the behavior in terms of the collection officers. Please, Mr. Atul, would love to hear from you. Mr. Atul, you are on mute.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
And yes, what you like Michael said that with digital we are saying time, money, and manpower, which is very very important. One
Hmm.
thing I was about to tell you, like there are certain collections. Like recently I met a telecom company. So I asked whether do you have any collection issues. They say yeah, we are having collection issues, but our ticket size is very small because what is happening? Someone has taken an internet connection. So monthly bill will be around 1200. If he doesn't pay, I will disconnect the collection. And after that, what I'll do? He says the amount is so small. How I can send a person for collection is very difficult because if the person will go and do the collection, he himself will cost 1500 rupees. So now with digital technology, he's very happy because he is having dialer reminders will go to customer and he'll be able to do the collection. So this small ticket loans are increasing nowadays because there are loans which a customer don't require to visit anything. Only digitally he will be approved loan for 25,000, 30,000. So this digital collection plays very very important role there. They are saving lot of money. They are adding lot of dollars, like Michael said. And like you said, there are a challenge of what we have to do. So there are five credit risk drivers which I want to mention here, which will clarify all our credit risk what we are facing. So first is the five C. First C is capacity, whether customer is having capacity to pay or not, because there are monthly commitment. Many times what is happening, customer also very smart. They know that he has to take a loan, and next month if he take the loan this month, and next month it will come in his bank statement. It will show that he's paying that money. So many times people are not checking the statements and they are giving the loan that the customer don't have capacity also. Then he many times customer is not having salaries to pay. The capital is also the second thing. Then there is a condition why a customer is taking a loan. So that is also very important. Many times customer is taking loan just to purchase shares and all that. So that also we have to check. Then collaterals are also very very important. What collateral, again, what collateral we are giving loan. And like I mentioned earlier, character is also very important. There are five C's which are very very important. So this all, when collection people are approaching, they have to remain. They have to remember that these five things should have to be made properly so that collection will happen properly. Otherwise, if we losing somewhere, if he don't have collateral and we are harassing him, then he'll say, okay, go to the court and all that, and we'll lose the money. So these are the five things which plays very important role. So when collection teams are approaching, they should remember all these five things.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Atul. Yeah. So, last, Michael, what are your thoughts on this? In which any great to have ways which collection officers can promote the excellent behavior? Anything to add, Michael?
Okay. Yeah, actually, what would I like to add is the customer education right now,
Yeah.
because we need to do it the first time. For example, if the customer was able to get a loan from a bank, it is pertinent and important that the bank inform the borrower through a welcome message through SMS or email. What are the, for example, the details of the loan, when is the due date, how much is the EMI, and all of the terms, the tenor of the loan. So in this way, actually, collections will actually be at ease in terms of, for example, collecting and contacting the customer, and it will also prevent the account from being at default because the customer is aware and educated on the loan details and when is the first monthly due date, everything. So another one is that we can also educate the customer through, for example, like this kind of webinar that we're doing in terms of management of loans, credit awareness, and we can also do, for example, for the lending companies, sponsoring short video clips about how to, for example, to handle a loan through social media platforms. So for me, nowadays, since we are in a digital world, so everything is fast paced, and we can educate them anywhere and at a fast pace right now.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you,
Yeah, that's
Michael.
it,
Thank you.
Rajat.
Yeah. So I think since last 2-3 minutes are left, I'll take 2-3 questions which are in the chat box. So Ms. Sohong, your question is how is the applicability of the proposed digital 360 solutions to other segments, right? Let's say apart from bank or financial loans, for example, trading, insurance. A very good question to collect the receivables, right? So recently, last week itself, there was an insurance company. They wanted to collect the premium amount, right? So that's also collection. Though the industries maybe from the lending, it's insurance, but the collections it's the same, right? So
Yeah.
we have those tools and capabilities as well, where we have given our collection solutions to the insurance companies, to the trade companies to collect the receivables both from either businesses or from the end customers. So we have that capability. There's another question from Nes Patrick, that how do these tech enabled automated collection do well legally, whether this legal letter which is being sent, uh, can this be treated as official legal demand to pay for the court purposes? What is your take, Mr. Atul or Michael? Anybody? So, for example, I'll repeat the question. So, let's say there is a legal notice which is being sent from the system, right? That is being emailed to the end customer. So, can that document be treated as the official letter in the court?
Yeah, I will answer that because this type of notice normally goes for Subsidy Act for mortgage loans and housing loans, and this is just very well accepted by the courts also, because if customer challenge that they are sent a digital notice and it is not acceptable, but it is 100% acceptable, and now a lot of banks are able to taken the properties in their custody because this only, because now lot of notices are issued by systems only. So this
Yeah.
all legal process, what systems are doing, that is very much accepted, and it is legally only. Means legal system also approves that. Like RBI approves that in India, and even all the legal entities are approved that.
Thank you, Mr. Atul. Michael, what do you think? Does BSP allows this in Philippines? Is that legal?
Yes, BSP and applicable laws in the Philippines allows this, and this is acceptable actually.
Okay.
And actually, our legal system is also applying this kind of digital tools. And another thing is they can also accept digital signatures nowadays, especially when the pandemic struck us. So a lot of these things has been in the different industry, and we apply these changes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Over to you, Kartika. I think we are done with all the questions and the roundtable discussion.
Yes, of course. First of all, thank you so much for joining us to both the speakers, but I'll get to that. Before that, to the audience as well. So if you have any more questions coming in, please, you can email it to us. We'll try our best to reach out to you. And of course, please to respond to the polls, because it's just a small takeaway that we get from our roundtables and webinars just to see where we are at with our discussions. So we'd love to hear from you. But other than that, yes, again, thank you so much, Mr. Michael and Mr. Atul, for taking time off your busy schedule and coming to join us. It was a wonderful discussion. I learned a lot, and of course, I know that even you had a lot of points to add, which was wonderful to hear. Any
Thank you.
closing remarks from anyone? I would love to hear that as well.
See, I'm thankful to Mr. Michael and Mr. Rajat because Michael is having a lot of knowledge about digital things. But like I said, I have worked it only in traditional, and now I'm shifting to digital. So thanks, Michael, for sharing all those tools. And it was really, I had also learned a lot of things. Thanks.
Yeah, likewise, Atul. It's a pleasure to be with you, Rajat and Kartika. So, thank you, everyone. I hope you were able to get something out of this webinar, and it will
Yeah.
be helpful to your respective businesses.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much, Mr. Atul. And especially to the audience, there are so many webinars happening right now, seminars happening, and then the BAU is also going on. Still, people attend these webinars and they learn from it. And even we learn from the people who are in the
Yeah.
audience, right, in the
Yes,
chat
yes.
box or the polls. So it's a great
Correct.
win-win situation for all of us. Again, a big thank you, and over to you, Kartika. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you so much, everyone. I think that's the end of the session. We'll officially call it a wrap. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining once again. All right. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day from wherever you're joining. Thank you
Thanks,
so
thanks,
much.
Karthika.
Thank you.
Nicely
Thank you.
arranged. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.